Okay, let me give you a brief walkthrough through Linux. So first of all, this is distributed as an app image for convenience reasons. And if you want to run this, make sure to add this --no--sandbox to it, because otherwise it won't work. Maybe while this is loading, just a quick FYI, there is a page, DoneThat AI install/Linux. And there I will, first of all, to put this video, but then also always have more information on like most recent best practices on how to get this running on Linux. It's a bit more difficult than on the other platforms, but at least the basics should work for most. Okay. Maybe another thing while we wait for this to load, by default, it'll put an entry in your autostart folder. Oh no, it did load already. So let's first talk about this. So sometimes, for some reason, the tray icon doesn't load. I haven't fully figured out why. I would say like 80% it does. So maybe just restart it again if it doesn't for some reason. Yeah, as for the other platforms, you have the tray here with all the stuff. Then let's quickly, run sign in. Okay, there we go. Okay, I think the details of how everything works, I'll explain in the other videos. I think for Linux, the important thing is here, if we look at how to set up permissions. The hard thing is how to set up screenshots properly. I'm running this here on Ubuntu with Wayland. Wayland makes it really hard to get information about other apps, but of course, for DoneThat to work, we need information about other apps. So to make this as dynamic as possible, I set it up in a way that it just runs an arbitrary bash script to create a screenshot. The only thing is this %s that'll be replaced with a file name, and just make it work for your Linux. You can always test it here, and you'll see if it works. You can always restore defaults here. Maybe explaining this script a little bit what I did here. I'm using GNOME Screenshot as a screenshot tool here. This has extra permissions in Ubuntu, which still allow us to easily take screenshots programmatically. They might deprecate it in the future. There is somebody who wrote a script. I'll link it on the website. That still works in that case. And all the faff before and after is disabling a screenshot animation that kind of pops into your screen by default. That makes it very annoying if this runs every 5 minutes. If you're on Wayland, active applications just won't work. So I just won't know which apps open when. I might build something to make it work in the future, but it's just unnecessarily hard. But screenshots anyway give you most of the information. You can enable microphone. That should work pretty consistently on Linux. Meeting audio, not so much. You can experiment with this. For me, at least on Wayland, I couldn't get it to work. The problem is that to get these more advanced features like app masking and context capture, you actually need active applications. So if we don't have them, we can also not enable these features, unfortunately. Just on the others, you can bring your own LLMs. And then finally, you can set up here a folder to capture logs in. And this can be very useful if you just want to debug, better understand what's going on. It'll just dump things there that it sends. And finally, by default, it'll create an auto start entry. You can disable this here. It will work by, sorry, let's get this other one, by putting an entry into config auto start. That's called DoneThat desktop. Let's not remove it. Yeah, it basically it's like the Linux standard for auto start. And again, importantly, it has this no sandbox. Otherwise, it just won't work. But this is like super standard for any kind of Electron apps. I think Cursor, for example, is doing exactly the same. Okay, I hope this helps. If it doesn't work, let me know. Always want to make it work for every platform. But the problem with Linux is there's just like so many distributions that it makes it a bit harder to set up. All right, thanks.